Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to a brand new video. We are currently setting some goals because it is Sunday, and every single Sunday I like to take about an hour and set some personal fitness, business, and relationship goals. Something I've been doing for probably the last 5 years now, and it served me very, very well. And just being able to hit my goals each month and have direction throughout my day through the week. Just picked up vanilla sweet cream cold brew from Starbucks with an extra splash of sweet cream, of course. I'm gonna take about an hour to do that. If you haven't set your goals for this week, do it. I can promise you it puts massive direction into your day and into your week so that you don't feel like you're just floating through every single week and then getting to the end and being like, what did I make any progress towards my goals or did I not? Having those points where you can like actually measure is super, super helpful. So something that I do is I literally just write out, I have one massive notebook that I write all of my goals in, and I'll write out in each category 2 to 3 goals, or maybe even just one, depending on where you're starting. And then from there, throughout the week, I know when I set my to-do list every single morning that it's going to be based off of those goals for the week. So I open it up, set my to-do list, and then I'm moving everything in the same direction so that I feel that I'm making reasonable progress and meaningful progress. And within that hour, it also allows me to schedule out my week. So what am I doing each day? What are the projects that I want to work on? Whether you own a business or not, even just in your personal life, knowing when you're going to be going to the gym, knowing what days you're going to be going to the gym, planning ahead so that you know if you have some sort of other plans that need to be put in place and accounted for, you know, okay, I can shift my training schedule by a day, right? A lot of the time as beginners, we tend to miss sessions just because other things in life maybe get in the way, when in reality, if you've got 2-3 rest days to work with, it's very easy to kind of shift around your schedule. So yeah, without rambling on that too long, that's basically my Sunday process. Sit down, review the week before, set some goals for the week ahead in each category of my life, and then I make a schedule based off of those goals and make sure that I'm moving forward with action steps in each day that suit those goals. So that's what I'm gonna sit down and do here, and then probably chill out for the rest of the day. Sunday, maybe watch a bit of the Super Bowl, I don't know. Gonna help my sister sell some candles at a market today. She's running her own little business, which is super cool. So freaking proud of her for doing that, and I'm excited to go and help her out. So that's my Sunday. You'll probably hit legs tomorrow. A little busy. All right, so back in the car now, just wrapped up leg day, which is failure week this week, which means everything is 0 to 1 reps in reserve. And it felt really, really good. Honestly, still felt strong. I didn't show my ab exercises at the end just because there were people filming in there and I didn't want to get in their way. They had some sort of like, I don't know if they're like filming a course or something, but I think they're called EMS or EMT, whatever. They were filming something. So yeah, didn't film my ab exercises, but I did cable crunch and leg raises as always, hanging leg raises. Hack squat felt really strong on. Kept my weight from the previous week, which is awesome. That means that I'm progressing properly. And I did an extra rep with it, I believe, from last week. So progression, still strong. Great progression through this whole training phase. And same thing with leg press. Same thing with body weight squat. So all of it was really good. And then next week we'll be heading into, I think, a deload, which will be much needed after this failure week. And that's about it. Then we go into a new training phase. Not sure what my exercises are going to be yet. Right now my coach has me in a maintenance block. So I have him programming and doing all my nutrition and everything. I did my own for the longest time. And that's really what made me become a coach in the first place, is because I learned like so fucking much through to trial and error, did so much shit wrong, found my way eventually, and then I have my own clients. So I want my time back and to be able to just hand it over to somebody else that I trust to do what I know that I need to do. It's super, super helpful. And the other big thing with that is like coaches, at least for me, and I would agree that this, or I would argue that this is for everybody, they really help you come out of your emotional decision making. So like every time that I wanted to do something for the first, let's say 2 years of working with my coach, he would tell me to do the opposite, because what I really needed wasn't what I wanted. So for example, I would want to cut too soon, right? I would get uncomfortable, maybe a little bit bloated in my building phase. I'd want to cut. And he would lead me to make a better decision for the both of us. And that was only through having a coach's perspective. I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own, but now I am, and I can make those logical, non-emotional decisions now by looking at the data, looking at myself and being really honest with myself and not having my emotions driving my decisions. And that's really important, especially if you're someone who like, you want to lose body fat and you're not in a place to maybe do so just yet. Maybe you need to work on your metabolism. Maybe you need to work at getting to your maintenance calories, anything like that. Maybe your health is off, your hormones are off. You're not going to be in a position to do a cut. And that's just the truth. So I think having a coach for the first little while to help you make the logical, non-emotional decisions based off of the data is so important. And it really teaches you a lot, so that later you kind of learn. Through that experience, you learn when you're bullshitting yourself, maybe when a decision is emotional, but you don't know how to make those decisions if you've never experienced it before. And that's where people will kind of fall into that like bulking, cutting cycle where they cut the bulk off, or they end the bulk too soon and they start the cut too soon. And they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all the time, and they never make any substantial progress. They look the same year after year after year because they don't do it for long enough to make them actually uncomfortable. So they don't stay in the cut for long enough. They don't push hard enough. They don't stay in a bulk for long enough because they have a little bit of extra body fat. And to them, that's uncomfortable, which of course it's going to be uncomfortable. It's not an ideal place to be. But if you want that maintainable physique that has muscle tissue, that you're able to eat, let's say 2,200 calories as a woman at maintenance, and look good and stay lean at that level and not have to worry about everything that you put in your mouth, like that's, to me, that's worth it. Go through that building phase for a long period of time, get a little bit uncomfortable, do a cut, and then when you reverse diet out of that cut, doing it successfully, that is where you achieve the maintainable physique that you don't have to bulk and cut from all of the time. You just get to kind of progressively maintain or work on a little bit here and there, but you don't have to go into these like aggressive bulk and cut cycles anymore. If you do it correctly once, maybe twice at most, you're gonna be good. And then you can spend most of your time building muscle, which most people should be anyway, because for most people it takes a lot more muscle than they think to have definition, to have that look that they want, that kind of shape and that I always hear, like, for most of my clients, they came to me saying, I want to look like I work out. And to achieve that, you do need a fair amount of muscle, right? It's going to take a couple years to build that up for you to actually look like you work out without, obviously standing there and flexing in the mirror. So, yeah, just a little ramble on that. I think that's all I had to say today. Leg day was good. You guys saw it's just basics, right? Basics over and over and over again. Biggest tip for any of you who are watching this, if you've been in the gym for like 2+ years and you're still writing out your workouts, but you're doing different shit every week, maybe you're not consistent at the exercises you're doing, maybe you don't have a progression that you use, my biggest tip is keep your exercises the same week to week, at least minimum for like 8 weeks, if not 12 or beyond that. And the level of progress that you'll see just from that alone, if you apply progressive overload within that, like within those exercises, wild. Completely wild. I kept my exercises the same with my coach for, I think it was almost a year. And like, people will complain, oh, I'm bored, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that. Like, you only get bored if you're not working on anything else outside of like just going to the gym. Like, if you're just going to the gym, you're not putting in extra effort to maybe work on your form and technique, be diligent about it, work on the progression, trying to do, an extra rep with the same weight every week. Maybe you're doing a little bit of extra weight each week with the same rep target. It shouldn't get boring. It only gets boring if you're not doing that and you're not working on it and you're just like getting distracted by what everybody else is doing. If you can like hold strong in your own, keep doing the things that you started doing in week 1, but yet improve in the quality, like, you will be light years ahead of everybody else. Not that it's a competition about, against everybody else, but it is nice to know that you're in there making progress. You don't want to go to the gym and not make any progress. Like, that's the most frustrating thing. I did that for fucking years, and it was really annoying because I'm like training hard, training 6-7 days a week and not seeing much progress. Like, why put in all of that time if you're not really going to see much of an outcome? So yeah, keep your exercises the fucking same is what I'm saying for a long period. Work on your form and technique. Some of the training principles that I like to use is a 3 to 4 second eccentric, which is like the lowering part of the movement, just slowing it down and controlling. And when you are slowing down the eccentric, you don't necessarily want to just like slow it down for the sake of slowing it down. You want to keep tension in the target muscle and resist gravity from pushing it down with the target muscle, right? So that's one training principle. Pause in the stretch is another training principle that I use. So pausing in the stretch, for example, on a squat would be a 1 second pause when you're at the bottom of the squat, when your quads are fully stretched. This guy's pissing me off, man. So anyway, pause in the stretch in a squat would be 1 second in the bottom when your quads are fully stretched. Pause in the stretch on, let's say, like a tricep push down would be when your arms are up here. You guys can't really see me, I guess, but like when your arms are up at the top and you have your bicep against your forearm, there you've like closed that gap. Your tricep is really stretched up at the top there. Pause in the stretch on a skull crusher, right? You have like your easy bar and you're coming behind your head, or I guess that would be a tricep overhead extension, but either way, the stretch would be when you're like behind the head, and again, your forearm is touching your bicep, so that's a stretched tricep. Hamstring curl, when your hamstrings are stretched out, right? They're not contracted at the bottom. So you kind of get the gist of that, and you can apply that to every single exercise. Another one would be a powerful, explosive concentric. You want to be strong on that. You want to be explosive. You want to develop the muscle type, the muscle fiber type that is dominant on the concentric. What else? Consistent range of motion. That's a huge one. So use a full range of motion. Get into that lengthened position. Full contraction at the top of every single exercise, because when you establish full range of motion consistently, rep to rep to rep throughout an entire set and set to set and workout to workout, now you can actually apply progressive overload because you have a standardized way of doing the exercise. So each week you can apply more weight or apply more reps, because what happens with most people is they'll start 1 week with maybe really shitty range of motion. They're doing their squats with like this much depth, and then the next week So let's say they did like 10 reps of that. And then the next week they go in and they try and do that same 10 reps with a little bit more weight, but they're doing more depth, they're getting more depth, they're doing more range of motion. That's a lot more difficult. So then all of a sudden they have to lower the weight, they have to maybe do less reps because it's harder. So if you just standardize that all the way through, the only things that you should be changing week to week are either your reps, the amount of reps that you do, or the amount of weight that you lift within that. And that will in turn change the amount of intensity that you're using. So reps in reserve. Each week you're progressing, you're training a little bit harder, you're approaching failure towards the end of your training phase. So yeah, a couple training principles. I can't think of anything else right now, but standardized range of motion is one of those big ones. Oh, and last one is rest periods between your sets. It's literally been proven over and over and over again in the science, in the literature, in the researches, whatever the fuck you want to say, that more rest between sets is better because you have better performance between set number 1, set number 2, and set number 3, and so on. Because let's say you did 10 reps on a hamstring curl in set 1, and then you only rested for 30 seconds because you were fucking distracted, maybe like you just lost patience and you're like, oh, I can't sit with myself for too long. You know, I start thinking about shit, I start stressing out, which that's a problem in itself, but that's for another day. You do the second set, and now you can only do 7 reps instead of the 10 that you did originally. Now, had you rested that 2 to 3 minutes, guess what happens in the second set? You at least get 9 reps, probably 10. Your performance within that set is better. You're not overly fatigued. The muscle isn't fatigued in the session. Your cardiovascular system is not fatigued. So you can actually push it hard, push it close to failure, and not just psychological failure because your muscles are fatigued. So that's a huge one. And you do that consistently each workout. Don't rush through your shit. You're going to see much better results. So that's I wish more people knew that, because many people I see in the gym, they just like hop from thing to thing. They can't wait long enough. You know, they're distracted, and then they just like go and do another exercise during that. They do like a superset during the rest. Very much something I teach all of my clients are those core principles, and they see crazy results even after like training for, let's say, 4 or 5 years on their own, and they don't know what else to do. They come and join the program, and we give them these principles, we give them like the form of technique feedback, and they see wild results because their body's responding to that new form of stimulus. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that little lesson. If you got any questions ever, let me know in the comments below. I'm more than happy to answer questions or make videos on anything that you guys want to learn. I know a lot about hypertrophy, I know a lot about training. I've been doing this for probably 7 years now, and it's extensive learning through trial and error, coaching, you know, over 100 clients. So I have some knowledge. I don't claim to know everything, but if you guys ever need help, just let me know and I'll be happy to answer some questions. So now I'm gonna go home. It is almost 12, so almost noon. I'm gonna go home and eat something, because all I ate this morning was an egg on some sourdough with some cream cheese and a latte. So not ideal. Not freaking ideal. Last time I said I was gonna bring some food, I didn't do that this time. So I gotta get better with that. But yeah, gonna go home, eat some lunch, and go do a bit of a work session. Then we got form assessments with my clients today, and then probably go do some cardio at the gym, wrap that up. And of course it's Valentine's Day, so gonna have a little bit of a date night, and that's about it. And of course we have to have the early afternoon latte. About to sit down here and do some work for a few hours before my call. Probably work on a resource that I've been building, which is a ebook. So if you are looking for help in your fitness, if you are looking for guidance and you feel like you've been doing a lot of shit, but you're just overthinking, you're going through the process of starting and stopping, and you overthink everything, you overconsume information on social media about fitness, which if you're watching this, it's very likely that you do because you're watching fitness content. So if you're one of those, you're an overconsumer like I was of content about fitness and nutrition, I'm making a ebook about everything that you need to know to just get started on that next level plan for yourself. Because currently right now it's likely that you're working out, you might be cleaning up your diet, maybe even track your macros, but you don't know what's that next step for you. So I'm literally making a step-by-step of like Chapter 1, auditing your history. Chapter 2, finding your maintenance calories and where your current calories are at, blah, blah, blah. So all that kind of good stuff, making a training program, it will be in there. So go and follow me on Instagram if you want that, because I'll be releasing it probably within the next few weeks here, or when you see this, it might already be released. And if that's the case, message me over on Instagram about the ebook and I'll add you in and I'll send that over to you. So yeah, gonna sit down and do that, and we'll catch you guys in the next clip. All right, so I just wanted to do a bit of a physique update, or maybe not so much a physique update, but an update on how the build is going. Obviously, this is the build series. We're on, I think it's episode 4 now, and I haven't really shared too much about where I'm at. And honestly, I think that's just because I've been so focused on chilling out in a way. And I'm gonna kind of explain what I mean. So after, well, let's rewind all the way back. Maybe not too much, but the start of my fitness journey was very much from a place of I didn't like the way that I looked, and I feel like that's pretty much why everybody starts. But a lot of other things were going wrong in my life. I felt like I was lacking a lot of confidence. I was lacking a lot of self-trust, and as a result of that, I was hurting a lot of people in my life, and I was being hurt by a lot of other people in my life too. So it was kind of this toxicity that I was in, and I really made a decision that I wanted to change my way of being. I just wanted to change who I was, and get back to the roots of who I am, which is a very loyal person, a very trustworthy person, a very hardworking individual. And so a big part of that, of starting my fitness journey, came from a place of lacking control, right? So I felt like I could not control anything. I felt like I couldn't control the way that I looked. I felt like I couldn't control the way that my mind was, like my mental health. I felt like I couldn't control just who I was, and how my life was going. So that's where everything started. And when you think about it, a lot of people, myself included, start off on a fitness journey because of this, because they feel like they can't control anything. And they have to, it's like a part of their evolution, they have to go through this process where they over control. They have a really tight grip on everything, and that's how I was for the longest time. I was very like white knuckle, my fitness journey type person, like be very strict, be very tight on everything. And what's funny about that is that I was actually way less consistent back then in doing that than I am now. And the reason for that is because it was unsustainable. So I'd be like super, like I lacked any sort of flexibility. I was very strict on myself. And now I can be flexible. I don't have to be 100% on point all of the time. I'd rarely miss workouts ever, but like with nutrition, I don't have to be 100% all of the time, because I just have the trust within myself to like make good decisions, but also have enough flexibility to where I know that it's not going to affect my progress too much or at all. And in fact, it will probably benefit my progress because I'll be a lot less stressed. I'll be a lot less, or a lot more enjoying life than I was before. So now I'm kind of in this place where that's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing. I'm being more flexible, and that's part of what I wanted to talk about with this build, which is I'm just hovering around maintenance right now, and I'm okay with it. I haven't really pushed too much into a surplus, or well, I haven't at all yet, and I'm okay with that. I've done a build before, I've done a cut before, I've done a reverse diet, I've done all the shit. And right now I'm just really content with staying where I'm at and not missing out on progress, but more so like staying where I'm at and progressing within the confines of what I'm already doing in this maintenance period. So 1,800 calories roughly. I'm sitting at about 120 pounds, 121. End of the diet, I think I was sitting around 116, which is like the lowest I've been since I was probably like 4 or 5 years. Yeah, 4 years. So I've put on a couple pounds for sure, a little bit of water weight, a little bit of just carbs, right? Also muscle tissue, put on probably about a pound of muscle tissue, which is a lot for me being this far into my fitness journey. Like usually women will, if they are in a surplus, they'll gain around, let's say like half a pound per month. So that's not a lot. And if they're doing everything correctly. So at this point in my journey, hearing that I've put on at least a pound of muscle is pretty cool. And I haven't even pushed into a surplus yet. Maintaining a lot of leanness as well, which is nice. So one thing that I always used to struggle with is like I'd go into a cut and then I want to come out right away, or because it was unsustainable and I wasn't doing it the right way, or I'd be in a bulk, quote unquote, a bulk, and I would want to come out right away because I was getting bloated or too big or whatever, because again, I wasn't doing it right. Now this time, with reverse dieting out and doing it properly, I've held on to a lot of leanness, and I've also put on a lot of muscle tissue, which both of those things make you look more lean. So this is the leanest I've ever been at 121 pounds, which is very exciting to me. A little bit of cleanup could be done right now. Over the last few weeks, I've been, one thing was traveling, so I didn't track my macros at all during that. Just kind of trusted myself to go and do what I needed to do. Also, the week after that, a lot of things just happening within, my business, personal life, which is something I've been trying to manage a little bit better. Find my flow with how I want to show up in both my business, my personal life, my relationships, what that even looks like. And with this new kind of transition and version of myself, in the way that I'm showing up, it does take some time. It takes some time to find that. And in that phase, I'm not going to be perfect, right? I'm not going to be perfect on my macros. I'm not going to be perfect on every little thing under the sun. I'm still going to work on that, but it's not my primary focus right now, and I'm okay with that. So still training hard, still following my program as usual, still tracking my food, but just being a little bit less of a stickler about it, just kind of letting myself really focus in on what it is that I'm trying to do this month and the last couple months, which again is just bringing a little bit more calmness, less stress, more presence. And I feel I've made a lot of progress with that, but I think once we settle into that, once I settle into what that really looks like for me and this new schedule, demanding this new level of myself and my business, then we can refocus on really getting into that build, focusing more on the physical again. And it's okay to go through phases like that. You don't always have to be super pushing a bulk, super pushing a cut. It's actually really healthy to do maintenance, and I wish more people talked about it. And that's where your metabolism gets to adjust. That's where, your overall health gets to come back to that homeostasis that our body likes. So that's where I'm sitting right now. Probably going to be here for a little while, I'd assume. I don't see myself really pushing anything too heavy within the next few months here. Maybe a little bit of a small surplus, but other than that, my goal is to be around 125 lean. So if I can put on, another solid 3-4 pounds of muscle over the next couple years, then that's awesome. That's my goal. So that's where I'm at. Just want to give you guys a bit of an update on how the bulk is going, being fairly flexible. Actually, I shouldn't call it a bulk or a build, because currently I'm not. I'm at maintenance. I'm still building, but I'm not in a massive bulk right now. So that's how it's going. Just focusing on a bit of a flexibility in my personal life and what that looks like while still showing up at a high level and merging those two things together. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little update. Let me know if you did, if you want to hear more about anything, or you have any questions or anything like that. Would love to hear from any of you who are watching. So leave a comment below if you want, leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one.